Yeah, self-confidence is a real kind of self-confidence is very important for any kind of personal development, and yet we still have to be careful, um, because obviously human ego is a complex problem. Um, I did give one really clear example of this is as a parent, I like to be proud of my children, but pride is the greatest sin according to the Bible. And so therefore, is it good or is it bad? And how much of our own pride in our children will lead them to be confident and how much will lead them to be over
Mm,
overconfident, um,
mm,
because um, overconfidence is as negative as a lack of confidence. Although the overconfident are more likely to engage in activities than the underconfident, and then more likely to experience success and failure, and then more likely to be able to deal with it. And so that brings a great advantage to, um, in the example that you described, to the foreign students who are going to try and experience failure and maybe learn to get over it. Um, so get it. It's as I mentioned earlier. Um, I, we can't get away from the fact that sometimes smart people are not wise, right? And so what I would suggest is that the foreign students coming perhaps have a level of intelligence that makes them smart, but perhaps the Slovak students have a level of wisdom which makes them cautious, you know, realizing that you don't know exactly what is going to happen. You have an idea. It's like the boy might say, "Let's go for a beer. It'll be fun," and the girl will be like, "Maybe, you know, maybe it'll be fun. Maybe it won't." Right? There's sort of natural hesitancy about things, which at the end of the day, it's nice to have a balance, right? It is nice to have a little bit of both sides of the picture, the yin and the yang, uh, the male and the female, depending upon how you want to observe it and judge it and look at it, which is the difficulty that makes things good. Because if it's easy, we very often don't learn from it. We only learn from the complex and harder activities. Um, yeah, there, there's a very old saying. I can't remember who was quoted saying it. I want to say like Bob Marley, but I'm not sure it was Bob Marley. If she's if she's easy, she won't be good, and that's
mhm,
in terms of human relationships. So the 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 complexity of the problem teaches us whatever it is we need to learn, and it this simplification of things is is okay in terms of processes and perhaps understanding technology. But the most read book 150 years ago, or the most read, if you look back through history and find search for the most read books, the most read books were the books that provided the most depth and quality. So if you go back in English history, it's the Bible and say Paradise Lost by Milton. It's these books that examine heaven and hell and the light and dark and human character. Well, what do we have today? What are we feeding our children today?
mm, mm.
Um, Harry Potter, and don't get me wrong, I read Harry Potter and it's a good book, but it is and it has biblical elements within the story, the battle of light and dark, but it's still like a children's book, right?
Mm.
It doesn't go um, it stops at a certain point where the Bible doesn't stop. The Bible gives you a whole completely graphic, horrific image of the universe. And if you want to compare how many people have read the Bible today and how many people on average in society read the Bible 150 years ago, my personal perspective, this is just me, is that if you haven't read the Bible, you don't understand anything. That's my personal perspective, because everything comes from somewhere, from something. And in Western culture, we have built a civilization based on the concepts, principles, and morality given through Christianity in the biblical sense. And so in order to understand music, theater, art, dance, beauty, aesthetics, education, love, family, they all have their root and origin in those moralistic, not ethical, but moralistic principles. And so, yay, it's on the shelf there.